turn. We make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom for the first time, please know I have been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening and viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Well, as you know, last week I did a class on embracing the wounded child within, and I received a lot of positive feedback. But many of you had a question, and I own up to this too, that for many years I did not know the concept or understand the concept of focusing on what I wanted. So what I focused on was what I didn't want. I don't want this, or I didn't want that. And that's what I would focus on, what I didn't want. But it took me a long time to understand that if I focus on what I don't want, I get more of what I don't want. And so I heard your request, and I thought, let's just focus today on that aspect of why it's important to focus on what we want as opposed to what we don't want. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that I have the opportunity to share this information with you. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is fear. When we focus on what we don't want, we're focusing on fear. And there are only two choices: love or fear. Everything that you create, everything that you do, come from two choices: love or fear. Some people say that the opposite of love is hate. No, hate comes underneath fear. If it weren't for hate, you wouldn't fear that person. Or if it weren't for fear, you wouldn't hate that person. I said it backwards, so I don't edit. So here you go. Let me say that again. If it weren't for fear, you would not hate. So hate is underneath of, anger, all those guilt and shame. They're all under fear. Fear of what? Fear that you're not going to be good enough. Fear of failure. But if you focus on the failure and you focus on the fear, then that's what you're going to get more of. So here is what brings us to this class today, and I hope that you take lots of notes, because it's very important that we get this. It took me a while, like I said, to get this. So before we get started, I want to get this out of the way, because it's so important that you realize that this is the last week you can register early for the Super Gut course with Dr. William Davis. The other day, he was in the classroom, and this one person kept saying, "Is this Dr. William Davis from Wheat Belly? Is this Dr. Will? You sure this is Dr. William Davis?" Yes, we will have Dr. William Davis as part of the Super Gut workshop. And I don't even have the book near me. Oh, go figures, because it's right next to my bedstand. It's one of those things where, when you are focused on what you want. And I remember picking up the book for the first time going, maybe this is what is causing my digestive issues. Yes, there's stress, and yes, there's other things, but even when that's gone, there are digestive issues. Yes, I did take those pills that promised that I wouldn't have acid in my stomach, which was a misdiagnosis. And for those of you who are taking Tums or antacids, or taking Prilosec or Nexium or over-the-counter stuff, please, please, please stop the madness. Figure out what's causing the problem, change it, and then the problem will go away. I remember when I was younger and my doctors, who were my gods back then, said to me, oh, you need to take this pill and you need to take this pill. I did take the pill. And I remember my mom, who now is 89 and has dementia, saying to me, Lily, I don't think you should take that. It gives cancer in the stomach. I said, Mommy, if it would give cancer in the stomach, they would not, write a prescription for it. Right? Wrong. I'm not saying that you're going to get cancer if you take it. What I am saying is read the side effects. And every single TV commercial, listen to the side effects. Don't just look at the pictures of happy people having a wonderful time. Listen to the side effects of, this could give diarrhea, dementia or death, and it make it sound so beautiful. But what if the fear of being healthy and responsible and doing all those wonderful things is keeping you from the health you want? What if there wasn't a pill that would be given to you to continue doing what you're doing that's causing the problem? Did you know that chia seeds can help with acid in the stomach? If you're having an acidic stomach, or you're feeling like you have heartburn or whatever, a teaspoon of chia seeds. I like to grind mine, and then I just take a little teaspoon and I just sit there and chew it, and it goes away. Did you know that? It's cheap too, and there are no side effects. So here's the deal. Well, the side effects is that you'll feel better, and then drink some water, and then the chia seeds kind of absorb all the acid and you feel so much better, or at least I do. So I'm not a doctor and I'm not making a claim. I am just saying that this is what I do. And I was on these drugs for many, many years. And so perhaps maybe that's why I have digestive issues today. I don't know. I should have listened to my mom. Moms know best, especially when they're good moms. So I want to start talking about the choices. What every choice starts with is love or fear. So again, what is it that you're fearful of? And when I was looking at fear, and when I was looking at all these things, I raised my children in fear. I was raised in fear. It's like, be careful of this, be careful of that, drive carefully, don't do this, don't go out late, don't travel, because something could happen. My mom was very fearful that one of her kids, something would happen to one of her kids. My mom was very cautious, and I, as a mother, was fearful. I was fearful that something would happen to my kids. And I passed that on. And once I realized that when you focus on fear, that's what you're creating. I went back, once I learned about that, I went back to apologize to my children and let them know that I think that they're amazing. They're amazing, and that I believe in them. And I am so sorry that I doubted that they were capable of taking care of themselves. Somehow I was better at it than they were. And that was fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. And so because of it, I made some choices based out of fear. I was focusing on what I didn't want, but I didn't realize that by doing that, I was creating more of what I didn't want. I have wonderful children, and I can't take any credit for that. I have to give God the glory for it. So this is the last week. This is the last week. So if you want health and you're focusing on not being sick, let's focus on being healthy. So the 30th is the last day that you can register for the super gut, and this is what I started talking about, and get a discount, a price for it. It's a 6-week course. It starts August 1st, and here's the information: August 1st through September 5th, and every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to come together with Dr. William Davis. Yes, he's going to be a part of it, and he's going to guide us through a 4-week plan to heal our microbiome. When you register early, you get an opportunity to win one. Everybody who registered early or registers early will get their name placed in a winner's basket. And one of these breath testers, let me tell you, love it, love it, love it. And how it's giving me information. This morning, I did a test to see if I had SIBO or not. And so I fasted for 12 hours. Actually, it was 14 hours. And then I blew in my breath test, and it said 0. I had no methane, no hydrogen. And then 30 minutes later, 0.1, nothing. And so I texted Dr. Davis, and I said, okay, it looks like I don't have SIBO. And he goes, oh, you need to do it for 90 minutes, every 30 minutes for 90 minutes. So I'm like, dang, I already ate. So I'm going to have to do it again. But anyway, it's information that we would have to pay a lot of money to get in the hospital. So, and it's out-of-pocket expenses. So with this, you have it, one and done, you buy it. However, if you want to get it on my Shop Now bag, you can get 15% off if you enter Lily1. And I think it's all caps. Just check it out. And so one of you is going to win. For those of you who register early, you're going to win one of these wonderful digestive breath testers. And then 5 of you are going to win a chance for the special yogurt that we're going to be learning how to make to bring those microbes into our gut. And so it's a Lavelli Pure and yogurt maker. And so Lavelli and Food Marble have donated these products so that you don't have to buy it. But if you do decide to buy it, there's a link in my website and for them. The yogurt maker doesn't have discounts, so I could not get a discount code for that. But you can, for your convenience, you just can click on there. They do not reduce the prices. We had to wait over 2 months for this one. And so as soon as on the 30th, on the 1st, July 1st, I'll have Claire with me. And so she takes my priorities. So I will send by Monday or Tuesday, I will be sending out notifications of everybody who won, and I will send it to Lavelli and also Food Marble. And I'm so grateful for their generosity in sharing with you. So going back to that, fear and love. So if you want to be, see, I don't even think that way anymore. I immediately translate it. So I want you to write down in a piece of paper. Go get a piece of paper or write it in your computer, on your phone, type it in, wherever you're watching from. Just listen when I tell you this. I want you to write down everything you're fearful of. Everything that you don't even know. Just start writing 1 through 25, 1 to 100, whatever it is. Write it down. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be sick. I don't want a bad relationship. I don't want to get a divorce. I don't want to be a drug addict. I don't want to marry a drug addict. I don't, whatever it is, I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to die alone. Those are all fears that if we just sit down and just grab them from our mind, just grab them and just jot it down on a piece of paper, Just write what you don't want, right? And then on the other side, write what you want. What is the opposite of what you don't want? So for many years, my mantra was, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise, I am loved. So every time I felt maybe less than, that is what I fed my brain. So you have to understand, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The brain absolutely hears and obeys everything that you think about. And as I said before, murder started with a thought. And the creation of the airplane also started with a thought. The worst idea that you've ever had started with a thought. And the most glorious idea started with a thought. Everything starts with a thought. Where are the thoughts? If I were to crack open your brain, do you think thoughts will fall out? They don't. They're in there. They're in your subconscious. And so this is part of the universe of you, the universe of me. So this is the command center. The brain is the command center. And the thoughts are what we rule the universe. That is me, that is you. Those thoughts is what creates whatever we have. Like if you know, for many years, I don't think I've ever said this. And I've said it to my husband and probably my coach. And for the longest time, I thought I was going to die young. Well, I'm still young, although I'm 60, I'm still young. But I thought that 60 would never happen. That was a long time ago. And when I started learning what I wanted to focus on, it's like that thought of I'm going to die young. I needed to get rid of it because I have a lot to live for, and I want to live a long, healthy life. And I had to rewrite that program. It's like, where did it come from? Why did I have it? And I did some journaling on it. I don't know where. It's like I couldn't tell you where that thought came from, other than the fact that my body knew that I was taking all those asthma drugs along with the acid medication for my stomach, along with antibiotics they were saying that I had a sinus infection. It turned out that I wasn't producing enough acid. For 2 years, they pumped me with antibiotics. Since I was a child, they pumped me with drugs. And one of the drugs for asthma that they gave me was Xolair. And I received an EOB from my doctor, my allergist, and it said an EOB is an explanation of benefits. And it said chemotherapy. And for 9 years, I took that drug. And as I started learning about the different ways to heal naturally, and I interviewed Dr. Andrew Saul, and between commercials, because at the time I was on the radio, between commercial breaks, he said, you know, Lily, I can help you get off all your asthma medication. And I said, bring it, because I had just had that encounter with my allergist. And I knew something had to change. And I'm telling you right now that perhaps if I would have stayed on not only the drugs that I was on, I've never taken recreational drugs. I've never, so the only drugs that I'm talking about are the drugs the pharmaceutical drugs that were prescribed legally by doctors. I can't take pain medication. I can't take antibiotics because I had so many of them that my body just rejected it. So perhaps that thought, if I would have continued with the thought that in order for me to be well, I must take a pill, then the equation would have been, I will die early. And that was my conclusion. So once I understood why I had that thought, I said to myself, we're just changing everything. We're changing everything. Whatever I need to do to live the life that I want, I am willing to do it. Are you? Are you willing to live the life that you want? Or are you living the life that your doctor or your neighbor or your spouse or your children are telling you to do? So only you can answer that. All I can say is when you figure out what you want, or let's just start with, like I said, what you don't want. When you're looking at what you don't want, you write it down. And if it's like, where did that thought come from? Where did that feeling come from? Where did that come from? And once you start dissecting it and looking at it and seeing that, you mean I'm in control of this? Well, when I say I'm talking about the I am in all of us, which is the God in us. And it's come to me that if God is everywhere and God is in me and God is in you, if I just had a speck of a grain, a half of a grain of sand of the power of God, I can do all things. And that thought has allowed me to do the things that I do, because I alone can't do it, but God and I are an overwhelming majority. What do you believe? What is your belief? And when you write down what your fears are, you'll know what your beliefs are. Is your belief that you're not good enough? Is your belief that you'll never amount to much, which is what I was told when I was 7, that I was unlovable when I was 9. And these were people that meant well. My second grade teacher told me that I would never amount to much. And my paternal grandmother said that if I stopped learning how to play the piano, she would stop loving me. Well, guess what? I stopped learning how to play the piano. So I grew up with a thought that was planted in my brain when I was a little girl, that I was an unlovable, good for nothing. But you know what? I did not understand why I behaved a certain way until I did the work, until I figured out where did those thoughts, where were they coming from? And I was able to rewrite the lie. You see, they didn't tell me I was a good for nothing, or that I was not ever going to be loved, but I made up about that from what they said to me and how they said it to me. It was shameful. There was shame and embarrassment, and I was a sensitive little girl who took that, and that thought was in my subconscious mind. So let's continue talking about the brain. So you've heard me ad nauseum talk about the brain, but the brain doesn't know the difference between do or don't. So if I don't want to focus on this, the don't or the do are eliminated. So what you're focusing on is what the brain will send signals in your body, and the body will create it. You will create it. Your actions, first it's the thought, then it's the feeling, then it's the action. That is the biology, the anatomy of the thought through to an action. Thought, feeling, then action. And so when you're having these thoughts of I'm not worthy, or nothing I do is ever perfect, because it didn't matter how successful I was, because on the exterior, I had a lot of confidence. But on the interior, when nobody was watching, things were not good enough for me. So that is what the subconscious mind does. These are thoughts that have been there since you were a little girl or a little boy. So everything you see from the moment you're born or created to the moment, like 7 or 8, 9, 10, I don't know, in your youth, and sometimes even as an adult, some of these fears, PTSD, all these things that happen because they get imprinted in your brain like a tape recorder. And we have some people don't have a lot of thoughts, but a lot of people do. So between 45 and 70,000 thoughts, so 70,000 thoughts a day that are repetitive. There's 70,000 thoughts that you have, and you don't even know that it's happening. And out of that, 90% are repetitive and 80% are negative, because we're focusing on fear. Our parents don't want us to die. They want us to be whole. And so what they tell us is, don't do this, don't do this. This could happen if you do that. What are you thinking about? What if you did this? If this could be happening? And the worst case scenario is always the most important thing. And if you're focusing on the worst case scenario, guess what's going to happen? So as you're thinking about things and thinking about life, be an equal opportunity. What do you like? Best case scenario, worst case scenario, So everybody says to me, well, I'm a realist. Well, good. I'm glad you're a realist. So let's be a realist with what could go right. Because who says being a realist is what could go wrong? We made that up. We made it up that it's real, but it's not real because both stories are true. What could go wrong and what could go right? Again, step number 2. The brain doesn't know the difference between fact or fiction, if it's real or not real. So if you're going through the worst case scenario, that's what you're focusing on, the worst case scenario. But if you look at the best case scenario, guess what? You get to focus on that too. You get to, how could that be? What would that look like if I followed the best case scenario? And that best case scenario is based from love. Worst case scenario is based from fear. So the brain doesn't know the difference between do or don't. It doesn't know the difference between fact or fiction. And it doesn't know the difference between past or future. So here's a true example. I was getting a massage and this woman started talking to me about something that happened to her. I don't know how. She asked me a question, and when I answered, it triggered something with her and started telling me about this story. By the time she was done massaging me, of course, as a coach, when people have problems, they tell you, and you're like, well, okay, I go into solution mode, resolution mode. And when I was done with the massage, or when she was done with the massage, and I was getting ready, I asked the question, well, how long ago did this happen? 12 years. And she was telling this to me. I wish she would have paid me my fee as a coach, as opposed to me paying her fee as a massage therapist. Because that's what happens. We get, all stuck in the past, and that creates depression. We get all focused on what could go wrong in the future, what could go wrong, and that creates anxiety. So the brain doesn't know the difference. It's just working on the thoughts in your head. It's just creating more of what you're feeding it. So let's recap. The brain doesn't know the difference between do and don't. It doesn't know the difference between fact or fiction. It does not know the difference of if it happened back 30 years ago or if it's happening now or in the future. It just knows it's now. So every time you recall trauma, every time you recall something bad about your day, you relive it. The brain assumes it's now. So if you constantly drop something on your foot, you keep dropping it on your foot, you keep dropping, it's no different, and it causes pain. It's no different than having the same thought over and over again, ruminating about something that happened in the past or ruminating about something that could happen in the future. Those are all things that is feeding the command center, and the command center is distributing that information into the universe that is you, that is me, that is us. And so do versus don't. You know that. Past versus future. You know that. Fact versus fiction. You know that already, right? So here's the last one. And I was just talking to some friends yesterday. And what was interesting is they were sharing a story, and the story happened about 1.5 years ago. And I said, well, that, I could tell that you're still emotional. They said, oh, it was not that long ago. It was about 1.5 years ago. And I'm thinking, oh my, so 1.5 years, she's been, beating on herself, because that is something that happened back when, but it's still happening today in her body, because the body doesn't know that it happened in the past. It assumes it's happening now. And then the pain and the hurt, I'm not talking about this person anymore, but the pain and the hurt that you might feel, and the anger and resentment that you might feel for somebody else. The brain doesn't understand that when you are angry, It doesn't know who it's angry with. It assumes it's you. It assumes it's you. So if you're angry with somebody and you've been angry and you refuse to forgive them, who's being harmed is you. No different than picking up hot coals to throw at your enemy. Who gets burned? You do. You do. What you wish unto others will come back to you. And what I said was in this conversation that I was having with my friends, and there were hypothetical questions, and I'm thinking, why would we want to harbor this inside of us? We've got to be quick to forgive, quick to resolve, quick. And the reason why is that whatever is happening. The body is analyzing it as it's you, and it's angry with you, and it's going to insult you, and it's going to cause injury to you, and it's the other person, they're dealing with their own stuff. You don't need to deal with their stuff. So it is very important that when you are dealing with a situation that happened, whether it's the past or the present moment, and you are angry or hurt, remember that anger, 5 minutes of anger suppresses your immune system 8 hours. And who's angry for 5 minutes? Usually people are angry for hours. So understand that whatever you're doing, and just be your own best friend. Be your own best friend and tell yourself, we must be willing to forgive. Just the willingness to forgive. And I've often said this, and I'll say it again if you're new to the classroom. When I wish you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance, that was my forgiveness story. And that's what I wished onto the person who hurt me. Love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. And at the beginning of my journey, it was just a willingness to forgive. Whenever I recalled those things, that's what I wanted for them, because what you wish onto others come back to you. So that's what I really wanted for me. I wanted love. I wanted peace, joy, and unexpected abundance, because that was taken away. But was it taken away, or did I give it away? Because fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me. And so when you really look at the situation as it is, no filters, no right or wrong, no he said, she said, no story. If you're just protecting yourself, then it is very important that you focus on what you want. If you want love, if you want peace, joy, and unexpected abundance, if you want unconditional love, if you want to be happy, if you want to be in a great relationship, start focusing on that. If you have problems in your family, start focusing on the resolution and the peace and the love that family is going to come. Now, it may take a while, but in the process, you're blessing yourself too. In the process of wishing that for your family or a broken friendship, as you wish that to them, it comes back to you. How many people have I been seeing lately flipping people off? How many people have just said, cancel culture, you're worthless, you're a piece of dirt, for lack of the words that they're using and that I've used myself. You know, what I'm saying is that when you're doing that and you're effing the world, you're just like, you know, you're better than everybody else and all those things. Just remember, what you're effing the world with will come back to you too. I had to say that to someone that I love dearly, because I just got tired of hearing it over and over and over. F this and F that and F this. And the reality of it is that I kept saying, It's coming back to you. Don't you get it? Stop. Stop. But people think that they're focusing on somebody else. It's not them. The brain doesn't know who it's angry with. It assumes it's you. So guess who's going to get effed? Sorry for using the F word. Fear. So how do you create the life you want? You focus on what you want. Write it down. Write every single fear you have. And if you don't get it, where it's coming from, spend some time journaling about it. Just like I shared with you the story of why I thought I was going to die early. And I have to tell you this, and I am not a person that goes to palmists or tarot readers or people that that see spirits or fortune tellers. That is not who I am at all. But there was a time that I was invited to attend an expo, and in the corner there was a bunch of people that there was a line to go see. And because I knew the founder of the expo, I had gone to them and I said, "What is that?" And they said, "Oh, these are palmists, fortune tellers, blah, blah, blah." I went, "Oh," I said, "Okay." I said, "Palmist." Okay, because I know that there's a reading. I said, "Who's your best palmist?" And they set me up with them. And I ended up having Amy on my show after that. But it was an experience. And I like to share experiences, whether I am someone who, you know, believes in this all the time and has to consult with them. That is not me. I believe in God, and God is my creator, and God and I create the life we want. However, this was an experience. I had never experienced this before. And so Amy looked at my palm, because I believe, if I say this correctly, your right hand is your potential in your life, your potential, and your left hand is what you've created. I may be wrong. It's been a long time. And when she looked at my left palm, she said, "Did you change your diet? Did you change your life? What did you do?" And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "You have elongated your lifeline." So my lifeline on one side was shorter than the one that I've created. So this is the life that I was predisposed to, or whatever. And this is the life I've created according to the palms. And I may be saying this wrong, but I'm just loosely saying the story. And at that moment, when I started figuring out, because at the time I did not know what I know today, but that resonated with me. I knew I was making changes, and that confirmed that the changes I'm making are elongating my life. They're making my life longer. And she showed me in my palm where there was a break and then there was a union again. Could it be? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see. I don't know. But all I can say is that was an experience I had. And it all tied in once I started figuring out why I felt that way. And I needed to rewrite the program. I'm going to live a long, healthy life. That is what I am focusing on. So when I focus the thought on it, then I need to act accordingly. I can't be eating junk food all day long. I can't be doing drugs all day long. I can't be like blaming everybody for my life. I've got to take ownership of my life. I get to. It's not your fault if I fail. It's nobody's fault if I fail. It is consequence of my behavior if I fail. So we're always trying to find blame and shame and fault or duty. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about focus. Dream big, dream the life that you want to create. Write it down, journal about it, and then work backwards. Figure out, if I change this, I might be able to do that. Or you can coach with me, or you can attend. Oh, the next one. I have to tell you, I'm going to see if I can do this correctly, but I'm going to choose a different background. And this is the body and emotion, the emotion code and the body code. And that is on November 3rd and 4th, 2023. So if you are stuck in your traumas, or if you want to learn how to resolve some issues in your life, I am telling you that with Dr. Bradley Nelson, he's coming to Florida again, November 3rd and 4th. Early registration is on right now. So please, please, please also think about joining us for that as well. There's so many different ways that you can take your life back. So do whatever you need to do to take your life back. So if it's health issues that you have, we have Super Gut. If it's the lifestyle and past traumas and wanting to release it and wanting to release generations of trauma, then please attend the November 3rd and 4th. We have the emotion code and body code. Normally that's 2 seminars, but or 2 workshops, and we're going to do 1 seminar with both the emotion code on one day and the body code the next day with Dr. Bradley Nelson. So check them out. Go to whenyounneedafriend.com. When you go to whenyounneedafriend.com, please subscribe so that you know what's going on. You know, it's sometimes it's disheartening, and I got to stay focused on what I really want. It's disheartening when you're being just, you know, garbled up and suppressed and all these things. So I need all of you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com and subscribe so that you know what's really happening in the classroom, and share this video, tag it, put little emojis and thumbs up and make comments. That's how we bypass the algorithms. And so tell your friends about these both these workshops and courses and seminars that we're doing, so that people can start saying, what? I'm responsible? You mean I can create the life that I want? 100% of my life I created? Well, here's the good news. If that's what you believe, which is what I believe, that I created my whole life, again, the I am is in me. And God and I have created this life. If you believe that, if there's something that you don't like about it, you can create something different and new. You can do something different. You've got the power. The power is in you, Dorothy. Click your heels. You can do this. I believe in you. So also, like and follow me on all social media. Share it with your friends. Go to your private pages, to your personal page, and put in the code or the name of my website. Put it in there. Ask people to also join us. There's so many different ways you can help the classroom grow. One of them is supporting our sponsors. Dr. Jennifer Gramith is a sponsor, and she is absolutely wonderful. She comes and gives all this information for free. So please support her the way that she is supporting the classroom. There's other sponsors as well, like the pharmacy in Merritt Island. What I love about them is they do compounded. If you need anything and it's compounded, just put it on your skin. It doesn't go through your GI. The worst thing that can happen is you get a rash or that you don't respond to it. But I love the pharmacy in Merritt Island. You tell them that Lily sent you and you get 20% off. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for them to have a national, but right now I believe they do compounding for local people. So so those are my sponsors. And then we have the Shop Now bag. In the Shop Now bag, we have, like I said, if you go in, if you want to get your own and you just say, I really don't want to wait until you do the giveaway. I want to start monitoring my breath now. Then Food Marble, you can go to the Shop Now bag and you get 15% off. A lot of the products that I have on my page are affiliates, and they help when you purchase something from the website. It will help provide support for the show as well. And so if you can go to the Shop Now page, if there's no discount, that means that there's no discount anywhere. And so for example, with the Lubelli, I tried to get you guys a discount, but I could not get one. But We're giving away 5. They're giving away 5. I get the pleasure of telling you that you're getting it. So make sure that you support the Shop Now bag. There's products that are all Lily approved from head to toe, even pain management without a pill. These are all things that will support the life that you want, especially if you want to be healthy. And then last but not least, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom. And whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom, and you will help us with your time, your talent, your treasure. And this is either, like I said, whatever you can give, we will appreciate 100%. And so we're talking today about focusing on what you want. What does that look like? And when I did the class on embracing your wounded child, your inner child, the comments, the private comments that I received, as well as the comments on YouTube and Facebook and other platforms that I have, I thought, you know what? I had a hard time with this too. And if I have a hard time with anything, or if I am experiencing something, I'm assuming that I'm not the only one. You see, that's where the ego kind of gets us. The ego wants us to think that we're the only ones going through whatever it is that we're going through. And the reality is, not so much. That is not true. We're all one. If you're going through it, I've gone through it, or maybe I can feel it because I've gone through it in a different way. I may not know what you're going through, but I know what I went through and what I've gone through to get to where I'm at today. And so I'm not done. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. So if you're in resistance of your life, if you are resisting your life, then it's time to just stop. Why do you want something that you're trying to create is not working out? Maybe you just need to take a pause and look at other ways. Maybe collaborate with people and say, what am I doing here? What am I not seeing right? How can I make this better and new? How can I create what I want? And perhaps what you want is much greater than you think you can achieve. But is it? Could it be that you were created for something much greater? How do you know unless you try? How do you know? Worst case scenario. Is that what you want? The worst case scenario? Or do you want the best case scenario? Focus on what you want. And listen, if you fail at it, so what? Figure out a different way. And when I say so what, I don't mean to be dismissive. Just try something different and new so that you can create something different and new. Unless you're willing to do whatever it takes. And okay, here's some negotiating things that I always go with. When I'm going to negotiate, unless I'm willing to walk away, I lose all power. If I'm negotiating with somebody and I want to create win-win, then we get to come together and create win-win. We figure out what would work for them, what would work for me, and what we're willing to compromise in so that we both win. Not just one person win or the other person win. Because that means that you have to lose. And there's no need for losing. Everybody can win. There's enough abundance in the universe that everybody could win. And when we wish people harm or that they screw up and that they fail flat on their faces, guess what's going to happen to you? Yep. Unfortunately, people don't understand that. They feel powerful by holding on to grudges. They feel powerful for wishing you harm. They feel powerful, but that is the ego telling you that you're powerful. And the ego is miserable. The ego never wants you to succeed. It never wants you to be happy. The song of the ego is, I don't get no satisfaction. Your essence, the essence. Oh, by the way, the ego is fear. That's what's developed to protect you when you're a child, but it holds you captive as an adult. So how do you shift from your ego to your essence, which is all about love? Take courses with me, coaching with me, and I've done lots of classes on personal growth. And you can sit there and listen to them one by one. But if that's not enough for free, then I do charge a fee. You can go to my About Lily and different things like articles I've written. There's coaching information, how you can donate. There's also a donate button. There's so many different ways that you can learn and grow with me, because I'm not done. And if you ever think you're done growing, then draw a chalk line around you, because you are dead. The last time that you will be done growing and that you can say without a doubt, this is it, I am done, I've arrived, is the moment you take your final breath. Be curious in your life. Be curious as to what you want in your life. Because when you are not curious, the opposite would be dismissive, critical. Just think about different ways that we belittle somebody else's joy because you don't want to acknowledge to yourself that you're miserable, because you're focusing on the misery. But if you start focusing on what you want, you will create more of what you want. It's a mathematical equation, like 2 + 2 = 4. When you focus on what you want, you get more of what you want. And even if it doesn't look exactly of how you thought it was going to look like, then be grateful for the adventure. Be grateful for all the lessons that you've learned along the way. Always go back, not to find what's wrong, but always go back to find, what did I learn from this? What did I discover about myself? How did I survive this? Wow, I am resourceful. I can do so much. But it's up to you. You can learn what you want, but sometimes that's hard. So I suggest you start with what you don't want, what you don't like, what you don't, what your life is like that you hate. Just write it down. And then right beside it, like I said earlier, right beside it, write what you want right beside it. Draw a line. And that's your new thinking right there. What I want is your new thinking. So what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? I remember doing an exercise with, I was coaching someone that I was coaching someone, and they didn't know what they wanted. So I started yelling, what do you want? What do you want? And I said, just tell me what you want. So I just kept saying, what do you want? 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 And finally she was able to tell me things that they wanted. But at the end, when they were done with me asking them, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? They said, I want you to be quiet. I think she said, shut up. But the whole thing is, just keep asking, what do I want? Simple, right? But we complicate it because we don't think we're worthy. But you are worthy. We all are worthy. I didn't say entitled. I said worthy. And sometimes we mix that with entitlement. It's like, I deserve it. I deserve it. No, I do deserve it, but I work for it. I work for it. I'm worthy. We all deserve happiness. We all deserve joy. We all deserve abundance. But what do you want to create? What do you want to create? And there's so many keys. And I've talked about this before, the keys to living the life of your dreams, which has to do with nutrition and exercise and nature and abstinence and restorative sleep and connection with self and others. Our limiting beliefs, what holds us back. And in our beliefs, we can choose forgiveness and gratitude. love over fear, and responsibility over being a victim. Because, by the way, for those of us who have been victimized, when we were children, that's your true victim. But as you become an adult, remember, the past is the past. You get to create what you want. And you get to be grateful for that past, because it could have been worse. And you're making it better. I know that may ruffle a few feathers, but you get to create what you want. And then the last is the eighth key is being contribution, giving back to the world. But how do you create that? So if you are in any doubt, of what I'm talking about today, and you want to learn more, you can learn. If you want to be healthier, please join us with Supergut. Please join us with Supergut, because when you do, you will start discovering, your microbiome can improve, release oxytocin, and I'm looking forward to doing it with Dr. William Davis. So that again is August 1st through September 5th, 2023. And every Tuesday we're going to come together and we are going to pick each other's brain, build a community, learn and grow with one another. And then we have the Emotion and Body Code, which is November 3rd and 4th with Dr. Bradley Nelson. It's going to be so much fun. That's a physical where you go there in Florida, Cape Canaveral, Florida, and we get to learn from one another. We get to try things out on one another and learn and grow together. That's basically it. It is basically what we want in life, is to love and be loved. Love and be loved. And so, does anything else matter? Yes, money can buy a lot of things that we like, but will it buy our happiness? Will it buy our joy? I've known billionaires that are miserable. But I've also known people that are very affluent, that are living their life to the fullest. They're taking advantage of all the resources so they can learn and grow. So those are different ways that we can all learn and grow together. But what about you? What do you want? Are you in resistance of what is? Then how would your life be different if you knew you would be successful? That everything that you tried in life would bring success. Now, we got to measure what success is, because there is a level of, I don't know. I was talking about self-esteem a little earlier. I was talking about ego. And a lot of people say, well, I love myself, so I've got an ego. No, self-esteem and ego are two totally different things. I wanted to clarify that. I'm glad I remembered, because I remember everything. Yes, I do focus on that, because I used to manifest forgetfulness, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I remember everything. And I choose to focus on what could go right. Yes, I look at what could go wrong, and I make my decision on that. But I'll just focus on what I'm fearful of. I create balance. And sometimes I need a third party to come in, or a second party to come in, to help discern what it is that I want. But you know what? If you really truly listen to that voice within, that I am voice in you, you will know. So just be honest with yourself. Take away that resistance by saying, what if everything I did from this point on was going to be met with success? How would my life be different? And do it. And do it. And please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking